Hello, I'm Achit Nair from Nair's Aviation Ground School. This is the 17th video in a new series of educational aviation videos for the aspiring pilot. In our previous video, we had discussed the angle of attack and what occurs after exceeding the critical angle of attack. But the stall is an important aeronautical concept and requires an in-depth discussion. The stall can be one of the most intense experiences when flying, and the student pilot needs to be aware of the stall. This video is about stalls. You might have seen videos of fighter planes flying completely straight up, with the nose perpendicular to the ground. These maneuvers are thrilling and exciting to watch. But underlying these exhibitions is the physical principles of flight that limit the ability of most aircraft to fly in such extreme acts. The tendency of an aircraft to stall after a certain angle of attack is achieved limits the capability of most civilian aircraft to fly at anything more than a 20-degree pitch attitude. A stall is a condition in aerodynamics and aviation wherein the angle of attack increases beyond a certain point, such that the lift begins to decrease. The actions of objects in a motion in a fluid, such as the air or the water, is known as fluid dynamics. In fluid dynamics, a stall is a reduction in the lift coefficient generated by a foil as angle of attack increases. This occurs when the critical angle of attack of the foil is exceeded. The critical angle of attack is typically about 15 to 20 degrees, but it may vary significantly depending on the fluid and the airfoil. A fixed-wing aircraft can be made to stall in any pitch attitude or bank angle or at any airspeed, but deliberately stalling is commonly practiced by reducing the speed to an unaccelerated stall speed at a safe altitude. Unaccelerated stall speeds vary on different fixed-wing aircraft and is represented by color codes on the airspeed indicator. As the plane flies at this speed, the angle of attack must be increased to prevent any loss of altitude or gain in airspeed. The pilot will notice the flight controls have become less responsive and also may notice some buffeting, a result of the turbulent air separated from the wing hitting the tail of the aircraft. In most light aircraft, as the stall is reached, the aircraft will start to descend because the wing is no longer producing enough lift to support the weight of the aircraft, and the nose will pitch down. Recovery from the stall involves lowering the aircraft's nose to decrease the angle of attack and increase airspeed until smooth airflow over the wings is restored. Normal flight can be resumed once recovery is completed. The maneuver is normally quite safe and, if correctly handled, leads only to a small loss in altitude, anywhere from 50 to 100 feet or 20 to 30 meters. It is taught and practiced in order for pilots to recognize, avoid, and recover from stalling the aircraft during normal flight conditions. A pilot is required to demonstrate competency in controlling an aircraft during and after a stall for certification as a pilot in many countries. The only dangerous aspect of a stall is a lack of altitude for recovery. Sometimes, being improperly balanced during a stall can lead to further complications. A special form of asymmetric stall, in which the aircraft also rotates about the yaw axis, is called a spin. A spin can occur if an aircraft is stalled and there is an unbalanced yawing moment applied. This yawing moment can be aerodynamic, which includes slide slip, rudder, or adverse yaw from the ailerons, or thrust related from the P factor or a one engine that is inoperative on a multi-engine aircraft, or from less likely sources such as severe turbulence. The net effect is that one wing is stalled before the other, and the aircraft descends rapidly while rotating, and some of the aircraft cannot recover from this condition without correct pilot control inputs. A new solution to this problem of impossible stall spin recovery is provided by the ballistic parachute system. The most common stall spin scenarios occur on takeoff, the departure stall, and during landing, the base to final turn, because of insufficient airspeed during these maneuvers. Stalls also occur during a go around if pilots do not properly respond to the situation resulting from the transition from a low power setting to a high power setting at very low speeds. Stall speed is increased when the wing surfaces are contaminated with ice or frost, which creates a rougher surface and a heavier airframe due to the ice. Stalls do not occur only at slow airspeeds, but at any speed when the wings exceed their critical angle of attack. Attempting to increase the angle of attack by moving the control column back normally causes the aircraft to climb. However, aircrafts often experience higher g-forces, such as when turning very steeply or pulling out of a dive. In these cases, the wings are already operating at a higher angle of attack to create the necessary force to accelerate in the desired direction. Increasing the g-loading still further by pulling back on the controls can cause the stalling angle to be exceeded, even though the aircraft is flying at a very high speed. These high-speed stalls produce the same buffeting characteristics as normal stalls, and can also initiate a spin if there is any yawing motion. A fixed-wing aircraft during a stall may experience buffeting or a change in attitude. Most aircraft are designed to have a gradual stall, with the characteristics that will warn the pilot and give the pilot time to react to the stall. For example, an aircraft that does not buffet before the stall may have an audible alarm or a stick shaker installed to simulate the feel of a buffet by vibrating the stick fore and aft. The stall is an important maneuver practiced by student pilots in many phases of their flight training. It is important that the aspiring pilot is able to recognize a stall, understand the underlying principles which cause a stall, know how to stall the aircraft and recover from the stall, and also identify and mitigate the causes that could result in a spin after stalling the aircraft. Being familiar with the stall could be the difference between life and death. Therefore, one must always be informed. For more information, please contact us at liftanddrag@gmail.com and visit our website at nirsaviation.webnode.com. Thank you, safe flying.